Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be building a Redux clone. This is going to be a very simplified clone, obviously, and it's going to be just for the purpose of our demo application. And let me walk you through the demo application. It's just going to be a counter with basic functionality like increment and decrement. Okay, let me walk you through the code now. So what we have here is like we are having the provider from React Redux. We are passing the store, okay, and we are creating the store here using createStore from Redux, as well as we have the reducers also, and we have basic state with the property of count and value 0. Okay, and let me come to counter reducer. Here we have the state initial and we have the actions, and based on the actions we are incrementing or decrementing. We have the actions here which are nothing but just objects which with types. Okay, and we are using it here. Okay, like basically we have the use selector use dispatch from React Redux, and we have the increment decrement actions, and we are passing those actions to the dispatch whenever the button has been clicked on either on the plus or on the minus. And we are basically only taking the count property. We are basically observing the counter and property of the state and just showing that here, and we have the dispatch here. Okay, just if you know Redux, I think this should be good to go, I guess. Okay, now what we have to do is like we have to do we're going to write our own logic. Okay, so most of our logic will be residing in this custom Redux file which I'll create here. Okay, so let us first think about it. Okay, I'll be going step by step. Okay, so that it becomes clear then at least. Okay, even if it's not in the midway. So first of all, what we'll be doing is like we'll be creating a createStore function. Okay, so it's nothing but just export const create store. Okay, and as you might have seen here, it takes a reducer as well as the initial state. So let me write it here simply like that. So it's going to take the reducers as well as the initial state, and let me write the let state equal to initial state, and let me create another variable which is going to be let listeners equal to an array. This array is going to basically have the callback functions inside it, and state is nothing but the initial state whatever we pass it here. Like here it will be passing count 0, nothing much difference there. Then we have the listeners, and we'll be creating two more functions which I think the names should clear. I think we'll be creating three functions, sorry about that. Function get state, it's nothing but just returning the state. Okay, and we'll be having function dispatch. As the name suggests, it's gonna basically take the action. Let me save it. It's gonna basically take the action, and it's gonna take a state. Nothing much. It's basically gonna take this. Sorry, it's gonna basically take the state, and it's gonna take the action, and it's gonna create a new state out of it, and we are gonna return the new state. Instead of returning, we are basically gonna be running. We'll be basically sending this new state to all the callback functions which are listed inside the listeners. Okay, for each listener. Okay, and now we're gonna create subscribe function, and this subscribe function is gonna do basically in the listener function we are having the function, so somehow we need to add those functions also. So that's going to be done using subscribe. It's going to take listeners dot push function, and this subscribe function is going to send us an unsubscribe function. Basically it's going to return a function which is going to help us to unsubscribe or basically remove this function from the listeners. So for that what we do is like return, it's gonna basically find the function listeners dot index of fn. If index is not equal -1, then we are going to do listeners dot splice index, and this is it, I guess. And I would return these functions. One is the get state, the other is dispatch, the third is subscribe. Let me see if I'm missing out anything. We have the state, we have this initial state which are passing to, which are setting into state. Then we have listeners, we are getting the get state from, we are basically getting the state from state, get state function. We're dispatching actions, and we are basically computing new state from the state and passing that state to all the callback functions. Then we have the subscribe function, which is gonna basically add the callback functions to the listeners array. Okay, and whenever we're also returning a function out of it, which is gonna be basically unsubscribing it. It's gonna find the function, and it's gonna, if the function exists, I'm just doing extra checking here, if the function exists, and then we are gonna do splice index of, okay, here it should be 1, yeah, it should be slice index of 1, and we're gonna return the functions. Okay, this is it. And then let us now come, okay, I think this is the main function part. Okay, now as you might have seen here, like app.jsx, not app.js, it's main.jsx. Here we have provider component. Okay, so what we can do is like we can create something similar using context API. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so let redux context equal to create context. Okay, and then I'm gonna create a couple of hooks for it. So first of all, let me create the provider component itself. So it's nothing but export const provider. Okay, it's gonna take store, then children, okay, it's gonna take store, and it's gonna take children, and then it's gonna provide redux context dot provider. It's gonna take the children, and for the value it's gonna take the store. Okay, simple context basic stuff. Okay, and now let us create a couple of functions, hooks basically. One is gonna be the use dispatch hook. Okay, it's gonna get the store. Okay, use context redux context. It's nothing but just helper functions. You could have avoided it, but I wanted to keep it similar of how we already have it, the code, so that we don't need to make any changes anywhere else. Just we need to implement this stuff. Okay, so store.dispatch. Now one more function is like hook is use selector hook. Is going to take the selector function, which is nothing but a function, I guess. So let me first come back here, okay, to be on the same page. Here what we have is like we are passing it a function which is going to take the count part of it and it's going to return it, and we are logging it here. I'm just explaining in simple terms. Okay, so we have to do something similar here. So we are getting the function here, selector, which has nothing but state.count. Okay, so now we need to do a couple of things here. First of all, let us do the same thing here. Let me copy this. Okay, it's gonna give us the store, and then what I'll do is like I'll be using use state. So it's gonna just take the state set. Sorry, I think my VS Code is shorting for some reason. State set state, and here what we do is like we are gonna call the selector function. Okay, then we'll send it pass it the store dot get state. Okay, as you might notice, the store dot get state is going to give us the global state. Okay, and we're passing to the selector, which is going to take the count part of it. Okay, and that count will be assigned to the, and then we're basically setting it using use state. Okay, hook, simple. Okay, and now what you do is like we can just pass this return state. Okay, but this part we have done is for the first time. Okay, whenever any change happens to the count, we would like our component to be re-rendered. So for that, what we can do is like we can do use effect uh, use effect snippet. So let me first remove all this stuff. So here what we'll do is like we'll be using the subscribe function from here. Okay, so what we can do is like it's going to basically pass out the unsubscribe function. Unsubscribe. Okay, unsubscribe, sorry, yeah, I was thinking it's something, yeah, anyway, so unsubscribe, and it's gonna basically be calling the store dot subscribe. Okay, and let me wrap it. Okay, it's gonna be giving us the new state. We are basically gonna copy this, nothing, this is, we are gonna be basically rerunning it whenever any changes happens for the global state. Okay, because see, we're passing this function. Let me write it first, then it will become clear. Okay, and set state new state. So what you're doing is like basically we are giving sending a this callback function, and this is being passed and added to listeners, as you can see from here. So whenever any changes happens, okay, it's gonna basically get us the whole global state. Okay, and so that we'll be able to again use using the similar logic in line 16, we are going to get the count, updated count, and we are going to update it with the new state, and we're going to basically get a new state out of it, and we're going to update it, update the component. Basically we are going to update using sets, basically use state hook, and it's going to re-render component so that we can get the latest updated count rendered in the UI. Okay, so, and we need to do the cleanup function also, as we can just write unsubscribe. So whenever the component gets unmounted, we can just call the unsubscribe function. Okay, and I think we have some declarations here, I guess. Okay, selector and store. So store, we are using them in the use effect, like here store and here selector somewhere. Yeah. Okay, and that's it, I guess. Let me check once whether I'm missing anything or not. Use state, store, use store, set state, use state. Okay, cool. Now what we can do is like, let us come back wherever we have this logic, we can just use our implementation now. Instead of this, let me comment it out so that I can also use it again. I need to write it from there only, I guess. Custom redux provider store, and let me come to store now. In store also I need to comment it out. Store, I think I had to go one level up. Let me just clear it off. Custom redux, and this is gonna be store. Let me see what I've written here. Yeah, create store only. Same name here. Okay, and then we have actions, nothing change. Reducers, no change. App.js is where we're using. Yeah, here. Instead of React Redux, we'll be writing dot custom redux. Okay, let us now see whether everything works fine or not. Okay, let me see whether what mistake I might have done. Weird. Okay, I found the issue. I think it's here. First of all, we need to make the children as just children, and we need to just pass it not using curly braces, but the parents. Okay, and here also. Now let's save it and let's come back to the UI. refresh it once more. As you can see, I am able to do it now. So this is using our own custom Redux. Okay. So this was just a basic of it, honestly speaking. So there could be, I have not covered combined reducers, Saga, Redux, middlewares, etc. So it becomes very much complicated that way. This video was mainly to give you an intuition around it. And one more thing is, like, if you think about this subscribe thing, this is also somewhat like a variation of, you can say pub/sub, or you can say observe pattern. I have two videos on it also on in my YouTube channel, so you can check them out also for more understanding. And the whole code, whatever I have done, I'll just add some comments also. You can check out in the GitHub repo of the whole final code, whatever we have done till now in this video. Okay, so this was it for this video, and hope to see you in other videos also.